Then the solitary languishes alone. He has no other diversion than to go to the neighbouring watering place, to ask for some information or other from a certain railwayman there. But the latter has obtained promotion, has been transferred to the other end of the country. The solitary will no longer be able to go and ask him the times of the trains or the price of a first-class ticket, and before retiring to dream Griselda-like in his tower, loiters upon the beach, a strange Andromeda whom no Argonaut will come to free, a sterile Medusa that must perish upon the sand. Or else he stands idly until his train starts upon the platform, casting over the crowd of passengers a gaze that will seem indifferent, contemptuous, or distracted to those of another race, but like the luminous glow with which certain insects bedeck themselves in order to attract others of their species, or like the nectar which certain flowers offer to attract the insects that will fertilize them, would not deceive the almost undiscoverable sharer of a pleasure too singular, too hard to place, which is offered him, the colleague with whom our specialist could converse in the half-forgotten tongue, in which last at the most some seedy loafer upon the platform will put up a show of interest but for pecuniary gain alone, like those people who at the Collège de France, in the room in which the professor of Sanskrit lectures without an audience, attend his course, but only because the room itself is heated. Medusa. Orchid. When I followed my instinct only, the Medusa used to revolt me at Balbec. But if I had the eyes to regard it like Michelet from the standpoint of natural history and aesthetic, I saw an exquisite wheel of azure flame. Are they not, with the transparent velvet of their petals, as it were the mauve orchids of the sea? Like so many creatures of the animal and vegetable kingdoms, like the plant which would produce vanilla, but because in its structure the male organ is divided by a partition from the female, remains sterile unless the hummingbirds or certain tiny bees convey the pollen from one to the other, or man fertilizes them by artificial means, Monsieur de Charlus, and here the word fertilize must be understood in a moral sense, since in the physical sense the union of male with male is and must be sterile. But it is no small matter that a person may encounter the sole pleasure which he is capable of enjoying, and that every creature here below can impart to some other his music or his fragrance or his flame. Monsieur de Charlus was one of those men who may be called exceptional, because, however many they may be, the satisfaction, so easy in others, of their sexual requirements depends upon the coincidence of too many conditions, and of conditions too difficult to ensure. For men like Monsieur de Charlus, leaving out of account the compromises which will appear in the course of this story, and which the reader may already have foreseen, enforced by the need of pleasure which resigns itself to partial acceptations, mutual love, apart from the difficulties so great as to be almost insurmountable which it meets in the ordinary man, adds to these others so exceptional that what is always extremely rare for everyone becomes in their case well nigh impossible, and if there should befall them an encounter which is really fortunate, or which nature makes appear so to them, their good fortune, far more than that of the normal lover, has about it something extraordinary, selective, profoundly necessary. The feud of the Capulets and Montagues was as nothing compared with the obstacles of every sort which must have been surmounted, the special eliminations which nature has had to submit to the hazards already far from common which result in love, before a retired tailor, who was intending to set off soberly for his office, can stand quivering in ecstasy before a stoutish man of 50. This Romeo and this Juliet may believe with good reason that their love is not the caprice of a moment,